When my best friend was sadness, you came in, pushed the darkness away as you did, and brought me a brighter day. Taught me how to live again, and you've been my only friend. You came in my life when I had nobody. You gave me somebody. Took this old heart of mine, dusted it off, yes you did. Gave me something to live for. Oh, now you wanna leave, now you wanna go, now you wanna go. Oh, leaving your footprint, leaving your footprint, footprints on my mind, yeah. How can I get over you when all the strength in me comes from you?
Brothers and sisters, and welcome to our show. I'm your host, Brother Lance Shabazz, and you're viewing the Lance Shabazz Show. As always, we encourage you to call a friend, call a neighbor, let them know the Lance Shabazz Show is on the air right now. We're also on that World Wide Web at www.lanceshabazz.com. That's our website. Our email again is lanceshabazzshow@aol.com. Brothers and sisters, we ask for 30 minutes of your time. During that 30 minutes, we hope to inform you, to encourage you, to enlighten you, to inspire you with some of this history with respect to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's our aim, wish, desire, and purpose. So we ask for that 30 minutes, and please just sit down and just enjoy the program. I don't know where you may be viewing this program at this particular time, but we want to spotlight C.R.O.E, Coalition for the Remembrance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Coalition for the Remembrance of Elijah. That's the acronym for C.R.O.E. They're housed in Chicago, 2435 West 71st Street, there at Emmett Till Road in Chicago. Now, the Holy Quran in the 110th surah of the Holy Quran is called the Help. It starts off, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, or in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. It says, when Allah help and victory comes, and thou seest men entering the religion of Allah in companies, we are to celebrate the praise of thy Lord and ask for his protection. It's a short verse, the 110th surah of the Holy Quran, called the Help. But I like to always refer to that chapter because I, brothers and sisters, are eternally grateful for the help that I've received from C.R.O.E TV. They have been my strongest supporters, and I'm just grateful that this program, the Lance Shabazz Show, would not be on the air had not it been the suggestion of my brother Munir Muhammad, who is the chief business manager, you would say, for the Coalition for the Remembrance of the Elijah, C.R.O.E. And we have an interview with Brother Munir that's coming up in the coming weeks, and we just want you to just keep your eyes and watch the Lance Shabazz Show. But we want to somewhat highlight C.R.O.E TV this afternoon. And before we get Brother Mandene here, we want to talk. I want you to, first of all, to hear a few words from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is being interviewed by this reporter. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is at the conclusion of this, which lasted for a few hours. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you'll see, he asked the reporter, or you'll hear him say that he wants to, get a copy of this because he knows the importance of history. That's the sole purpose of C.R.O.E. That's the sole purpose of the Lance Shabazz Show. We want to document history. We like to hear and see, and we want to have it so you can analyze it for those who come behind us so they can go in and search it. You see, America has archives all across this country. You see that they have all of these institutes where you can go in and observe documentations and see for yourself. So the Nation of Islam, I feel that it was our duty, our responsibility, some of us, that we preserve some of this history. So that's what we're in the building of doing, a gathering, collecting this information, and then bringing it to you, brothers and sisters. So we thank you, and we ask that if you want to support this program, Lance Shabazz, Post Office Box 1016, Levittown, New York, 11756. Once again, that's Lance Shabazz, Post Office Box 1016, Levittown, New York, 11756. So again, brothers and sisters, I want you to just take a few minutes, if you would please, listen to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then we're going to spotlight C.R.O.E TV. Thank you.
And I would love to have a film of this more than any other.
All right, I'll request that of the station. I can't personally say yes because it's not mine to give away, but I will tell the station.
It don't have to give it to Bible Fight.
Well, it's for sale, but I'll put it this way. Almost always when we work very closely with somebody, we do, yes, make available.
Oh, yes, because there is yet much work probably that is in ahead. You might want to film some more in the future. But I'm not asking the company to give me these things, which they have to go through little expenses and everything, the machinemen, the workmen and whatnot. But if they want to put a price on it, I will buy them. And I don't ask them to pay me for my time to sit and talk with you.
Yes, of course I understand.
No. But if they would let me have the film, so we too could use it for our own, references.
Yes.
Sometimes misunderstanding comes up, and it's charged with saying this or saying that. Well, then we could get the film and say, no, here it is. Play for yourself. After you have, taken it through the movies and put the pictures and everything on it, I will buy it from you about, a copy of it.
Are there any historical photographs available anywhere of your movement? Are there any historical photographs of early mosques or of Master Prophet Muhammad, for example? Are they available anywhere?
I don't know whether that they would let them go or not. But maybe they are someplace.
Okay.
But just actually, whether or not that you could get a hold of, I wouldn't promise you.
I'll see if I can get Mr. Kushner to work on that aspect a little bit. Maybe he can make a few inquiries. All right, sir, is there anything else then that you would like to add to our discussion before I leave? I certainly appreciate the time that you took.
No, that's all right. I don't think I have anything in mind now, but Dennis.
I didn't plan to take nearly this much of your time, but I got so personally interested.
That I'm glad that you were taking this time. I'm glad to talk with you.
Well, to me, it was a most interesting interview. I must say that you're a much different person than I had expected to meet.
In what way?
Well,
I'm not bothered.
Never. You're not like.
I'm not bothered.
Well, I have never talked to a religious leader before of this stature. The absolute head of his organization. I've talked to lesser people in the Christian church and so on, and I always found them a little bit stuffy, which you're not at all. You're very personable and easygoing. But what I've been expected to, what I'd expect ordinarily of religious leaders is someone who's a little bit stuffy and they're a little difficult to talk to sometimes.
Well,
or pretentious.
Well.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back, brothers and sisters. You're viewing the Lance Shabazz Show, www.lanceshabazz.com, www.lanceshabazz.com. We're being joined now by Brother Mandene Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Thank you, brother, for sitting in with me for these few minutes.
Thank you for having me.
You're a very powerful but quiet brother. Let us know your role, with relationship with C.R.O.E, your duties.
Well, I'm blessed they allow me to run the office when the co-founders are not there during the week. Function as the office manager, and daily routine is just we got a lot of people who come in and inquire about the history of the Nation of Islam and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and operate in that capacity as far as assisting them in whatever it is they need to know about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If they're interested in the audio or video on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'm pretty sure that they don't have much on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, so I just kind of recommend what they should get, since we do have the most extensive collection of audio and video on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's the, in a nutshell, the first aspect. I assist Brother Munir. He allows me to help him out every day. You know, a lot of people may call it like a chief of staff, so if you want to put that label on me, that's fine too. But as far as scheduling his day-to-day operations, reminding him about little things, you know, that he may have to do, or someone he may needs to call, you know, whatever capacity within the C.R.O.E. headquarters. But we have a vehicle, which is a television show.
Yes, sir.
That we have I think 9 or 10 member crew, and the original goal was to make sure that all of the crew was able to work whatever piece of equipment that we have, and we try to do that to make sure that we're not held hostage. But they allow me, for the most part, to direct the shows, and that's the aspect that I work in there. But I can work pretty much whatever assignment that needs to be done, because you never know, you know, what may happen tomorrow morning. I may decide that, you know, I pretty much had enough. I catch up with y'all later. So if that comes about, if I go crazy and do that, then there's a brother or there's a sister, or a younger brother or sister in the wings that's ready to take over the helm. It may not be a smooth ride when they first get in the seat, but it wasn't a smooth ride when I first got there. It's not a smooth ride now, but it's trial and error, and
Yes,
that's how
sir.
we learned.
How old were you when you came to C.R.O.E.?
When I came to C.R.O.E., I was 17 years old. I was going into my senior year of high school.
And how old are you now?
I'm 35.
All praises due to Allah.
Yes, sir.
So that's 18 years.
18. Yes,
All
sir.
praises due to Allah. And you've been blessed, I know, to I guess you directed with many of the guests, whether it was Jesse Jackson or whomever. You want to name
Yes, sir.
some of the guests that sat in the seat?
Well, like I said, Jesse Jackson, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Johnny Cochran.
Yes.
You know, some of they may elude me right now. Jerry Butler. You know,
Yes.
some of the local people here in Chicago. The late President John Stroger was a great political icon here. I'm pretty sure he's known throughout.
Barack Obama also.
Yep. Barack Obama also.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a whole slew, but you know, I never. It's an honor to film these people like Linda Johnson Rice. I think I alluded to her into an interview that Brother Munir was interviewing me one time. But it's a great honor to be a part of that history. But you know, I think we were saying last night in our class, it's nothing like having our own people on
Yes,
to
sir.
really get a feel, not so much a feel, but to relate to what the person is talking about, and to be in full agreement with them, because they're talking about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
Everybody else is a vehicle for them to get their message out.
Right.
But the original goal of what we were doing was to get our message out, because everybody else took the initiative to try to go ahead and explain what we're doing, and or what we were doing, or what we were, or what we are as Muslims. And so they were doing a lousy job at it, and plus I don't think we ever asked them to do that in the first place.
Right.
And so the co-founders, under the direction of Brother Munir, said that we need to be able to explain our own selves. And so we started doing that. They had already been doing it, you know, on the radio night and day, but with this television thing, it just took off. You know, it's like hands-on training. It's sort of like what you, I don't know if you said it on the interview or during a break, you know, how you were, fact about it was doing the interview with Jamil. You was just telling them how you had trouble, you know, getting a crew together.
Oh, yes.
You know, you get a crew together, you got to feed them, because you know you can't just implement slave labor on them.
Right.
Then they complain about the food that you bring them. They compare the food that you get there to somebody else's food, and then you say, you know what, I'm not going to feed you. Just take some money, go get whatever you want. Then they drop the bomb on you that they won't show help, and you may be doing something else that particular day. Then they say, well, you didn't help me, so I'm not going to help you. So we started off with that, you know, that same type of situation. But we have been blessed early on to already have our own crew, but we were rough around the edges. We just needed training. So we get that training just like to be, you know, we learned whatever we could from, you know, anybody there. And once we were able to go on our own, that's what we did. So we don't have that problem. Right. And soon you won't have that problem, because the people will see the work that you're doing. Because we still have people now who would love to work with us. We have a gentleman now who don't look like us, but he loves this type of work as far as the television, but he likes our work because of the professionalism of our crew and our host, and he likes the information that's put out. no matter what we say on the show,
Right.
he sticks with us. So my point is, you're going to have people like that, just like the work and the information that you put out, and they just want to help you.
I know Chicago is blessed to have you. You're on 6 days a week here, right?
Pretty much. Sometimes we're on every day.
Every day.
Yes, sir.
I know it's blessed. And, in New York, it's a couple of times a month that it is in Queens, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But the interviews, you mentioned the sister in front of Jet and Ebony, Lyndon Johnson Rice,
yes,
and
sir.
Jonathan Rogers,
Jonathan
the
Rogers.
mayor of the city. I mean, the interviews are,
It's so
the
many,
information that's out there.
And it's not to be cocky, and like I said, it just eludes me, all of the people. Because
Right.
we've done over 1,300, and I'm pretty sure I'm shortchanging us. But
Right.
I mean, it's been a lot of people that have been in the seats, and I, pride myself to try to remember,
Right.
all of them. But you just can't do it. You have to be reminded of some of the people
Right.
that you had on. So it's been a lot of movers and shakers, and they're not lightweight people.
I
And
know.
I mean,
even the young sister that was locked up in prison that you did a series
very
with.
Latanya Sublett,
Yes.
very intelligent young
I
lady.
mean, I love the program. It aired in Queens several times, and
Mhm.
I know you got good response from that. Beautiful.
Definitely, because people see that may be Latanya Sublett here in the
Right.
state of Illinois, but it may be a Latanya Sublett in New York,
That's
in,
right.
in Queens or in Brooklyn or wherever.
Right.
So it's just that type of information is put out to let the people know what's going on.
Right. And when you first began, when you first started on television, how were you coming on? Like once a week or once a month? How?
When we first started coming on, our main show, Muhammad and Friends.
Right.
We lucked up because a lot of people really weren't doing shows down at cable access at
Right.
the time here in Chicago. But Sister Kim always took it a step further, whether we liked it or not.
Right.
And she, we were blessed to get, I think, one of the greatest time slots that a person could get every Sunday night at 7:30. And even though we may have went up against some other shows, but I mean, for sometimes, a person, you got some thinking people out there who are not into sport and play and
Right.
dancing and all this other type of stuff and want some information. So
Right.
they know that every Sunday night at 7:30, they can tune in to Channel 19. So that was our main show at the time, and it's our main show now.
Right.
But we have other avenues that we can go
Right.
also. But so, like I said, it started out one night a week, but now, as you alluded to earlier, 6 nights, sometimes even 7 times during the week that we come on. And within those 7 times, at least 3 times during the month, we go live,
Right.
in which we're able to interact with the callers via the telephone. So
Right.
that's just another way for the people to interact with whoever they're trying to get in contact with, whether it's the politicians or or whatever. A lot of times we just may do it ourselves. Brother Manil may just get up there and just decide to do a commentary. We don't know where it's going.
Right.
We operate off of spontaneity. It kind of gets us, like we don't know where we're going a lot of times, and it's a good thing because you just have to be ready, because it's like this world. You don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. So we want to be in that same position. It's just being ready for whatever.
I was early on when I started a few years ago doing my program, and I was at that time driving the city bus in New York, and I called the television station because something just told me it wasn't the way they were playing my tapes to the show. He said, "Well, you don't have a new show." And I said, "Yes, I do." I said, I did, but he couldn't find the tape. So I went home and, honest to God, bro, I did a 30-minute quick commentary, shot the flushing, dropped the tape off, back on the bus. And that's when I knew that I could do any show then.
Oh, yeah.
It was because I got angry because I knew I put time in it and they just couldn't find the tape. But I just went there, turned the camera on, took off the tie that I had for the uniform and just put on the suit, whoosh, and ran it to the station.
And that shows you can do that anytime you get ready. I mean,
Under
and that's
pressure.
the beauty of it. And
Right.
that's a small victory. When we had that fortunate event of having a flood here, that same day, we interviewed the superintendent of the police at that time, Terry Hillard. So,
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
even though we had a travesty going on, we
Right.
still had to set up shop like we used to do back in the old days,
Right.
get 2 chairs, a couple of cameras,
Right.
a table, and we had to go to work.
That's right.
So, it's just like you said, and that's how it is. A lot of times you're just thinking about it. You just want to know how the show is going or,
Right.
Any response or something. And it's a good thing that you called in
Right.
and you found out that you needed a show. But then it showed you that you have it in you to just stop right there, and just set up shop.
That's right. And like I said, that let me know then that, because when I first started to try to get it onto the computer and try to, edit it and understand, I didn't have the proper understanding. I learned a few things. And my first show, I don't never show that again. It was so many mistakes on that show. The tape was freezing, and I just felt it was just not professionally done, but it was something I did. So I said, I'm never going to release this.
But you want to remember shows like that because it keeps you humble, and it keeps you focused, and it keeps you crisp, because it knows where you came from and know what you used to do and how the mistakes that used to happen. The shot may be too close on a person, you may be cutting somebody's head out, too much look room, not enough look room, whatever. You just look back on that, and you say, well, I know not to do this. I know what to do next time. Even they're looking at somebody else's talk show. You say, well, man, I need to try that. They're doing this with the hair room, or I'm going to take that shot, or try that, that angle, something like that. You can learn something. When they say you can learn a lot from a dummy,
yes, you can.
It's true.
That's true. And some of the other shows that y'all produce.
We, Muhammad and Friends, like I said, is our main show.
Right.
We also have Outside Politics, Informative Talk, Message to the Black Man, the Munir Muhammad Show, which is our weekly commercial show that comes on Monday through Thursday.
Right.
A couple other shows, politics. If we
political talk.
If we have to make up a show on that spot, no matter. We've done shows about
the time.
Mortuary science. The Time is another show. I can't forget about that. But we have a lot of shows, and whatever the case may be, whatever the topic is, we have a show and we have a host that can touch on that. And when you have root knowledge, you can talk about anything. When you have the root knowledge that's given to you by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you can touch on everything, man. And it's good to know a little bit about a lot of things. And then when you add that on to your life experience, hey, like Muhammad Ali said, you just be big, big, big.
That's right. Well, one thing I admire, as I said, everybody, whether they are or not, everybody that I see who's a member of C.R.O.E. looks to be very prosperous, very successful, in appearance at least. And if they're faking it, they've been doing it a long time now. It's been many years I've been watching, and by Allah's grace, I see the condition has improved in everyone. And that's how you know that God is with you.
Yes, sir.
Well,
it's a saying that we have here at C.R.O.E., you can't see through my pocket, so,
sir.
And I got 4 pockets, so even if you could, figure out what's going in one of them, I got 3 more. So,
yes, sir.
And it's good to have brothers around here. When the messenger said, I can get it out of my brother's vest pocket, we have a support base here. So. And
it's important. Now, I know I had a store at 16. I had a co-founder with these 2 other brothers, Kasim and Malik Cornell 2X. But all we were talking about, we wanted to get a business. We wanted to get a business. And when I grew up in that circle, so that's all I wanted to do.
Right.
That was the main thing that we were talking about. And so when you're in a circle or coalition of brothers, and your main goal is to make sure that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whether you want to just see his picture out, whether you just want to see a sign out, whatever the goal is, Brother Munir shared with me how when they wanted to get that first building, how they went out with that one speech, the June 4th, 1972 speech, and went out, and that showed dedication that when they got to a number, they were ready and they were serious. And then you went on and whatever you did, you started your investment groups, you started different things to show that you're organized.
That's right.
And that's the same thing, like I said, that's what I admire about C.R.O.E. because you're not just talkers. No. You set out to do something, to go on television every night of the week, and to, like you said, just switch formats in a drop of a dime, political talk, the Time, Message to the Black Man, the Munir Muhammad Show, Muhammad and Friends, to do that at a drop of a dime, don't know who's coming through the door, but let's get this interview. Come on, sit down, let's talk.
That's right.
And then the rap, because you say you got root knowledge, that's a blessing. Not anybody can do it, and I tell people all the time, if you can, try it. You can start off good, but after a while you realize you have to have a passion and a love for this, and that's what I admire about the brothers and sisters there at C.R.O.E. because you have the passion, and many years.
I was told early on that you're going to have to be able to do this even when you're not up to it.
That's true.
And when you think about the position that our people in, our black people in, you got to do it because it's do or die time.
Right. We get ready to wrap this up, but I know, brother, I've had the flu, the fever, I've been sick, and I just still keep the program going because I keep saying, as the messenger said in '72, he was going to stand up. If he fell down, he's going to keep going. And that's the way I feel sometimes with these programs. I'm just going to keep them coming.
The wicked don't rest, and neither should the righteous.
Go ahead. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Mandene Muhammad is here. I thank you, brother.
Yes,
Assalamu alaikum.
Man, I don't know what to call you sometimes. Just friend. But look,
which is always good.
let me say this. I have to tell you, I've always enjoyed talking to you, and you'll make anything into a story. But over the years, I've come to appreciate not only your historical recollection, but the way you've assembled people. And off camera, we talked a little bit about how you were fighting for the musicians to get some of that money that they didn't get in the early days. And
Yes.
then you go back and give us the history of people like Lord Price and all of these guys that you bringing together. I mean, have you always had a fascination with history? Or are you just living a dream that's too good to be true? Let's get it all out. No, I mean, I'm asking you a lot of things, but I'm really fascinated, to be honest.
Well, I have been fortunate to have grown up and been involved in this thing that we call show business at probably the most exciting period in American history. The civil rights movement, the Muhammad Ali becoming the champion. I mean, the first black tennis pros.
So everything was happening.
Things were happening, and I was there, and a lot of instances involved. And so that's what I bring.
And I'm supposed to just sit and accept this, and I make statements that I'm not he says to me he wants a true Muslim woman, and I say that I'm not a true Muslim woman. I don't know what a true Muslim woman is, or a man for that matter, if you're going to just decide who's who, so I don't...
So you're angry?
Yeah, quite, on the contrary, I'm a nice person.
You know what, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a couple of calls, and then I will tell you some of the things that I've learned by not only, I think about 10, 12 years ago, I was in New York when they were planning on doing Muhammad Ali's story before this Japanese group bought it. Yeah. But they did an interview with you during that time.
Now, if you want to know something about me, you ask me.
Yeah. And that's why
other than that, you're guessing, and I don't like that.
Okay, let's take a call. And so a few years back, you produced this book, The Evolution of the Nation of Islam, and which I'm sure is on the marquee now, and I'm sure that people remember that. And if they don't remember it, here's a copy of it. And this was written, of course, by Jesus Muhammad Ali. And this book is going to be around your signature book, and we've had you on to discuss it over the years. But I bring you in now, Jesus, to talk along the lines of your grandfather, because he has been gone now for 33 years.
Yes, sir.
Now, you haven't seen him, have you?
No, sir, not physically.
Okay.
No.
Now, let me ask you, because you know the inside workings of that, and you were with your grandfather in the last days of his life on a regular basis, were you not?
That's correct. See, the messenger made it very clear to us. He says, even in the Bible, he said Jesus, the Christ, Salam is oftentimes referred. He said, a man is like a cloud. He cometh and he goeth away, and you see him no more. He said that's about as plain as it gets. That's what he tried to remind us when we were all spooked up and with out of the church and everything. And so he made it very clear to us about things like that. I remember when I was 17 years old, which I repeated even on the program, after he came back from Phoenix, Arizona, when he was given 4 days to live, right before Minister Malcolm, as we say, went crazy. He made a bid for the leadership and lost his life in the process. When I saw him again, because it wasn't until I was 17 years old. Now this he was in Phoenix for about 3 years, in Bacon in the sun. So we had a prayer. 1 hour was dedicated to a prayer when we heard this news of what the doctors had said, and so we all prayed during that hour that Allah would bless him to come out from underneath this bronchitis. So when I saw him again in his dining room there at 4847, you know, I was so thankful to Allah that I have a chance to see him again, you know, because I had saw him more than I saw my father for the first 14 years of my life. You know, brought home at 10 days old at his home. So to get a chance to see my grandfather after he'd been gone, you know, to Phoenix for so many years, and then that had been told that he would only had 4 days to live, I don't know if you can really know how, you know, how my heart reached out and was to just have a chance to see him again.
You were just so happy
elated,
because you remember the time. And there was a correspondence in the history of Muhammad when he was on his sick bed and they plotted against him. And you mentioned Malcolm coming out to Phoenix, seeing him on his deathbed because people didn't expect a recovery from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I remember that quite well, and the messenger talked about that himself in his recovery, and suffice to say he did recover. And you were rejoicing. But let me also...
Now, let me say this.
Please.
See, when I saw him and I let him know how, you know, thankful and grateful to Allah that I had a chance to see him, he told me, he says, son, he says, a man's life is only as a flickering of a candle in the night. You know, we're here and gone before we realize it. So the point was, he made it clear to me that I had to, in my mind, rob him, so to speak, of all the knowledge that I could possibly
take advantage of it while you can.
That's correct. That's and not be like those who are closest to the well seldom drink. But at that point, when he told me that,
from then
on, I treasured every single moment I had and every bit of literature I had in order to ask him questions. You know, because I knew he was letting me know
that it could be gone.
It's going to be a time when he's not going to be here.
And so